Yo, what's up guys, so today we are gonna see, what if, Akatsuki Naruto x Kushina x Tsunade, Shizune x Kurenai, part 2, last part, hope you'll enjoy this video, so before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Abandoned training ground. Come on Ino-chan, you can do it, just another 2 laps around the lake, and we can get to the light training, Naruto said, getting a moan in disappointment, as Naruto sat on a stump watching Ino Yamanaka run around the lake for the 5th time in a row, as he wore a pair of loose pants, and a black muscle shirt. Come on Naruto-kun, I don't think I can run anymore, Ino said, huffing, wearing a pair of bike shorts, and a purple tank top, running, getting a chuckle, as she yipped, as Surin and Tigress jazzed her for the entirety of it. Oh Ino-chan, I know you can do it, all you have to do is believe in yourself. How about you do these couple laps? You can take a short break, and, as a reward after training, I'll do whatever you ask. Naruto proposed, seeing the light in her eyes get brighter, as she redoubled her efforts, effectively lapping Tigress and Surin. Chuckling, he thought to himself, it's amazing how a possible reward can motivate a person depending on the reward. She came to him in the middle of the night last night, asking him for help in her training, as she wished to improve after her display during the preliminaries and the invasion, which he agreed to. Seeing her run the last lap, he said, alright Ino-chan, you can take a breather, and when you get your breath we can start the physical training and chakra control to see where you're at. But a small question. Do you diet? She nodded, huffing, getting a small frown from him, as he knew the reason, making him say, Ino-chan, you do know you're only hindering yourself by dieting, right? I mean, that's fine for the civilian women, but the shinobi lifestyle will take care of that. But I don't want to get fat, she protested, getting a raised eyebrow from Naruto. In the academy I ate more than all the kids combined in my weight's worth in ramen, and did I look like I was fat? I mean, Choji's is happily plump because it's in his clan's genetics to use there, he said, as she thought about it. I mean, look at Kurenai-sensei, Anko-sensei, and many of the other female kunoichi, even the ones from the other villages, did they look like they were on a diet? All the fat you gain while training is distributed to help your body where it needs it, he explained, as she looked down at her chest, remembering that Anko was pretty well figured, and even Hinata had a better figure than she expected. Okay, so you make a good point, but what am I going to do? She asked, scratching Tigress behind her ears, getting a loud purr from her. Opening an eye, Surin said, coiled up in the sun, we're going to set up a training schedule, and if depending on the situation you might be allowed to sign our contract and be our summoner. What situation? She asked, confused, seeing what she assumed was a grin form on the 2 summons' faces. Let's just say if today is going as we think it will, we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other than you think, Naruto said, giving a grin, as well as she had a confused expression on her face, although a small blush formed on her face. Alright Ino-chan, we're going to set you on a standard training regimen for now, and we'll go from there, so for now we're going to have you do, Naruto started before Surin tossed a scroll to him which he caught reading. Push-ups. 10 sets of 10. Sit-ups. 10 sets of 10. Crunches. 5 sets of 10. Squats. 5 sets of 10. Pull-ups. 10 sets of 10. Punches and kicks. 20 sets, 40 punches and kicks each. Chakra control exercises. Her jaw dropped as she exclaimed, you're kidding. They all laughed as Naruto said, Ino-chan, compared to my training, this is light in comparison, although this is the simple trial training. When we get the kinks worked out on your strengths and weaknesses we can give you the optimal training schedule, we know you can do it. Okay Naruto-kun, I'll get started now, she said, getting up as she got started, as Tigress and Surin sat next to Naruto now. So girls, what do you say her reserves are standing at? Naruto asked, watching her finish her sets of push-ups, sit-ups and crunches, and now get to her squats, as Naruto was caught by Tigress and Surin staring at her ass. Well Naruto-kun, from what we sense she has the reserves of a barely, I feel if we put those seals on her she'll grow exponentially, Tigress said, getting a nod from him, as he grabbed a blank scroll, jotting things down. She's also quite flexible, and limber, our clans have various taijutsu scrolls that would be perfect for her, but that will be for her to decide, Surin said, getting a nod from him. Hey Ino-chan, what chakra control exercises do you know? Naruto asked from his position, as she was in the middle of her pull-ups. I know the leaf balancing and the tree walking. I had started on the water walking exercise a couple months ago, she said, getting a nod from him, allowing her to continue. Well, he added that to the list. That's good to know, Ino-chan, you can stop now, Naruto said, as she just finished the last set of punches and kicks before she started huffing before she landed next to him. So what happens now, Naruto-kun? She asked, sitting next to him watching as he finished writing in the scroll. After a moment he said, well, from what we've seen we can tell you took your training at least a little more seriously than soccer. Her chest puffed out before he continued, but that doesn't mean much considering how few you know save for the mind transfer and the Academy 3, your lack of a proficient taijutsu style. your accuracy can use some work with your kunai and shuriken, and the same can be said for the other fields. She deflated instantly until she perked up as she heard, but with training, you'll not only be better than Sakura, you will be a powerful kunoichi in the village by the time me and the others train you. Curious, she parroted you and the others. What others? Tigress, Surin, and Naruto stared at her, making her blush before a cat mask appeared in front of them. Yes, Nico-san, Naruto said, as the cat-masked kunoichi straightened her posture. There is a council meeting, and you, Ino-san, and your summons are required to show at the meeting, she said, getting a blank expression from Naruto. Was this meeting called by the clan heads or the daimyos of High No or no? Naruto asked, getting silence in return. Tell the civilians that if they want us, then have one of them call the meeting, otherwise we're sitting our happy asses right here. Well, they explained to the why they called a council meeting without either his knowledge or the clans, he said, getting a nod from her as she vanished in a shunshin. Was Naruto-kun that wise? Ino asked cautiously, getting a nod. By law only the clan heads, elders, and the daimyo are permitted to call a council meeting, unless in times of war. We aren't in a war, so we don't have to comply until one of them calls it. Besides, I thought you were enjoying spending time with me, he said with a grin, getting a blush. I mean, the last time we hung out was before you went and joined Sakura's Sasuke fan club, he said, getting a negative sign. I know, it was just she started before he patted her on the shoulder. Peer pressure and wanting to be part of the crowd, which being around me conflicted with it, as everyone saw me as the dope, he said, getting a nod. Well, no problem, Ino-chan, it's fine, that's in the past, Naruto said, as she smiled before the two stood when Nico came back. I'll take a guess and say the meeting is still being called, but now either the clan heads or daimyos called it, he said, getting a nod, making him sigh, as Surin and Tigress hopped on the scroll he placed on his back before putting his hand on her shoulder. Ready to go see what everyone wants? Naruto asked, getting a shrug from the blonde, as they all vanished with Naruto and his group vanishing in a whirlpool of water as Nico followed closely behind. Council chambers. When is that? A civilian councilman started before all the shinobi and daimyo stared at him intently before correcting himself in mid-rant. Boy, getting here we ordered him and the Yamanaka heiress to be here, and it's been a half hour, he said before a whirlpool of water formed in the center of the chambers with the various and the Genin 12 plus the Toad Sage Jiraiya himself. Sorry, but the reason we didn't show was because the first meeting was called by civilians. This is a shinobi village, so by the law written by Hashirama Senju, the only time civilians can call a council meeting is in times of war. I don't hear any combat at the moment, do you? They heard, as the whirlpool dispersed, showing Naruto standing next to Ino with Tigress and Surin on the scroll. Letting her go, they bowed, as Naruto said, Honorable Shinobi Council, Hokage-san, Elder Council, Lord Minas, Lady Mai, Civilian Council. So what is this about? Naruto asked, stretching, as they stared at the collected group. Over the course of the invasion, several witnesses have made point that you have been seen wielding several abilities and an unknown energy you call. We would like you to explain why this is, the said, getting a shrug from Naruto. For the several abilities you're most likely talking about my use of the Sharingan, Rinnegan, the fourth Hokage's fabled Rasengan and Hiraishin, and my summons, he said nonchalantly, getting a nod from the large group as he sighed. Well, first, the Rasengan, as fabled, as you all preach it to be, is simply chakra control. Given a purpose, anyone with a brain can pull it off with enough chakra control and effort. Same for the Hiraishin, being seals placed in a proper sequence, giving its effect, Naruto said, getting an enraged look from the many who respected his father. As for the Rinnegan and Sharingan, I don't know, you keep telling me my heritage is an unknown, but that raises a serious question in me, Hokage-sama, that in the eyes of your Lord Daimyo and fellow council members and shinobi. I would like it if you answered me, Naruto said, staring him in the eye. And what would that be, Naruto my boy? He said, seeing a foreign glint form in Naruto's eyes. Growing up while running from the mobs formed by your civilians and shinobi, I would ask you who my parents were or what they were like, and you gave two answers that seemed to contradict the other. Quite seriously, Naruto said, as his eyes narrowed. And what was it I said, Naruto-kun? He asked, feigning ignorance. You would say 1 minute they were great people loved by everyone in the village. Well, the other answer you gave was I never knew your parents, Naruto-kun. So how is it you could say they were great people when you never knew them? Maybe our cage is hiding things he has no right to keep from those involved, he said, staring him down as the group stared at them rather intently. Yes, Sarutobi, what are you hiding? Because we have our own questions as well, Mina said, holding a black leather book with a gold leaf insignia on the book. Staring at Naruto, he said, as I've said, Naruto, your parents were good people and you are to know of your heritage when you come of age. You mean when you feel like letting me have what should have been mine when I was born? Try another excuse. And why are you curious about my summoning contract? Naruto said, as he stared at Naruto before the gesture to Jiraiya. My student wishes to take you as an apprentice and wishes for you to sign the Toad contract, he said, getting an outburst from the civilians shouting that the demon shouldn't be allowed to sign their Yandame's contract, much like many of the ninja around were shouting the same. You mean the Toads? Why would I drop my allies for some summons I don't know, and your prized Yondame's summons having a connection to the alleged demon? He said, getting roars of agreement from the civilians and the head. Concerned by the questions, the said that's nothing you need to concern yourself. Shrugging, Naruto said, then I will respectfully decline, give the contract to someone else. Why are you making this difficult? I was told by sensei that you wanted to be. Jiraiya said, getting a snort from Naruto, making everyone look at him. Sure, me to a village full of bigots and arrogance. No thanks, besides what's to say they even choose me in the future, or let alone do as I tell them. And I'm not being difficult. I simply told him to be honest, and, as usual, he tells me lies. Why should I trust a leader who can't tell me the truth? Naruto said, getting a nod from the daimyos. Yes, Hiruzen, what aren't you telling the boy, and why so insistent on him being a toad summoner? Even consider lying to me, and I will only make the village's punishment worse, Mina's said, unleashing his killer intent, making him gulp. Relenting, the said, the reason I'm so insistent on you becoming a toad summoner, Naruto, is because your father was the very man who sealed the 9 tails inside you that day. Your father was Minato Namikaze Senju, the son of Tobirama Senju, and your mother was Kushina Uzumaki. And through a series of blood tests we have determined that your mother was an Uchiha, or more so the daughter of Madara Uchiha. Many of the people present were shocked while Naruto feigned shock, as he said, and that's why you were so insistent on me being the toad summoner. And why, tell me now, and not when I was younger, or did you intend to at all? He was about to speak when Minas interjected, actually Naruto-san, a spy seemed to have dropped off a bit of evidence that concerns you, and it's safe to say he had zero intent, and this was orchestrated by your godfather, as well, Jiraiya of the Sannin. Staring at him, Naruto said, then I have no intent on being a summoner of people who would betray my father. Now that we know the origin of my two, I'll go into the odd energy I used, which I call Ryukyu, or otherwise known as spiritual energy, the other half of the tools necessary to perform. Many were about to speak before he raised his hands. Seeing as I'm the last of my clans of the Uzumaki, Senju, and Namikaze, I'll be placing these in my clan secret category, but I'll give a bit of information. Ryukyu, as I call it, is used to form several arts which all fall under the main category Kido or Demon Way. Shikaku asked, what do you mean the main category? You mean there's more than one? He nodded very astutely at you, Shikaku-san, as you said the other arts have their own category, the first of which is Bakudo, the way of binding. With this I can immobilize my opponent or opponents without causing harm to them. Sighing, as he stretched, saying the second I call Heido, the way of destruction, which are purely offensive techniques that cause damage of massive proportions, and both ways involve incantations, as opposed to a ninja using hand signs. And lastly, pointing to Lee, who was standing without a crutch or assistance, as he said, with us coming lastly to the turn way, this requires no incantation, as you focus your Ryukyu onto your target to heal them. Everyone besides those who listened to him explain it before were amazed when a councilman shouted he must be put through the craw. Many present roared in agreement until Minas's guards flashed their killer intent, letting him say, shame to say that nobody here besides Naruto can make that call. But how dare you deny the village more of the Yondame's heirs? Imagine the possibilities of children of both Uchiha and Senju. A older-looking Sakura shouted before Zane and Kai stood beside her with their swords ready. I dare because I allow your village the money necessary to stay afloat. I dare because I and Lady Mai are disgusted with the way this village treats their heroes. You were calling for his blood not only during the finals of the exams, but this village's own ninja tries to kill him, and many others try to keep him weak, and now that you all know he's my friend's son, you all decide now after the years of abuse and manipulation, to have him obey you, he said, as his killer intent built up, making many of the ninja and civilians sweat, but none more so than the elders, Hiruzen and Jiraiya. Showing the book in his hands, he said, during the 2-month period of waiting for the exams, a plant-like woman gave me this, and to say the least I can't help but feel disgusted with you and this village. You removed the meaning of the swirl on everyone's clothing, you removed their history, and you dare let the people wear it while abusing its soul air. Let's not even mention all the transgressions you've made during your reign towards the clans, which they will find out about when they return to their homes after this meeting. He started letting the various clans who were letting the weight finally build, he said, and I have set a punishment that not only I find suitable, but an old ally agrees with, as well. The Uzumaki swirl shall be removed from Konoha entirely and left to Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha Namikaze Senju, as will the forbidden scroll that his clan had given the village, as a means of trust. After Minas finished what he said, Mai added to it, Naruto and anyone he desires to bring with him at a time he chooses are free to leave Konoha, as they will no longer be Konoha ninja while serving as one of my ninja and Lord Daimyo at any time, as well as the village they so choose to join with him having the status of from this point on. But that symbol has been part of Konoha since the beginning. Jiraiya stated before he was met with a glare by the two daimyo. Then the older generation would have no problem explaining why it was removed due to them abusing the child whose clan gifted the village with said symbol, only for them to spit on it for so many years. Toad Sage Mai replied in return, getting a snort. And Saratobi, we have come to a decision that will not only bring retribution to the parties involved, but shame your clan more than you already have. The other village felt that you being publicly executed would be suitable, but we feel that you being left alive while forcefully being removed from office would be more effective, while a ninja of our choosing goes to get the most effective choice to replace you and get things back to the way your predecessors had things, Mina said, as Jiraiya inflated. I'm Rei, he started before Mai held her hand up. We chose Naruto-kun, and whoever he chooses to join him on this mission to receive Tsunade of the Sannin. With her pedigree, she would be the perfect cage to get you all to realize your proper places, she said, getting a bow from Naruto, as Zane removed Naruto's leaf headband and instead gave him a headband holding the water and fire guard symbol on it, with Naruto placing his leaf headband in his pouch. We're looking forward to working with you in the future, kid, Zane said, holding his hand out to Naruto, which he took shaking it before he went back to his daimyo's side. Naruto, you are to find Tsunade. You're free to take as long as necessary, but you must have your group ready before you leave, as you are to meet us at the cage's office, where we will be handling the business that Hiruzen should have been doing, Mina said, getting a bow from Naruto when the gavel hit the ground, letting the group gather that the meeting has come to an end, as Naruto and Ino vanished in a whirlpool. Abandoned training ground. Your dad's the fourth, Ino shouted when they returned to the training field they used previously. Naruto shrugged. Yeah, I know, he said, cutting her off mid-rant. You know why you didn't say anything, Ino practically demanded, getting a shrug from Naruto. Well, think back, Ino, when I was a blonde. Besides your clan, what other ninja had spiky blonde hair and blue eyes? He said, creating two clones who turned into the Yondaime and him before his transformation, as they stood side by side. I mean, take my whisker marks away, I was a practical doppelganger of him, for crying out loud, until I changed, Naruto said, getting a nod now that she thought about it. Wait, if that's the case, then why did nobody see the resemblance? Or say anything for that matter? Ino asked, as she saw Naruto raise an eyebrow. Ino-chan, you saw how the people there reacted when they offered to me signing my dad's toad contract. Would anyone believe I'm their beloved fourth Hokage's son, proof or no? Naruto said, getting a nod, as Naruto sighed, stretching. Well, training's finished for today, I suggest you get cleaned up and pack supplies for at the minimum a month. You know how to seal stuff into scrolls, right? Naruto asked, getting a nod from her. Good, have everything on hand, be outside your compound in at least an hour, and be sure to tell your dad and let him know we're going, he said, walking away. Where are we going? She asked, yelling, as he made his way to the village. To get a Sannin. He yelled, leaving her field of vision, as she grinned, getting to chase after her idol, showing that Kunoichi were strong, as she ran home with a skip to her step. Hokage's office. I'm here, as directed Lord Minas, Lady Mai, Naruto said, getting the attention of the two country leaders and their guards, as they were going through the papers with an obvious look of disappointment and disgust. Ah yes, Naruto-kun, do you know who you're going to take on the mission? Mai asked, getting a nod from him. Yes, I would like to take the Yamanaka heiress Ino Yamanaka as my partner for the mission, he said, getting raised eyebrows from the group. Isn't she just a genius? And came just below your former teammate Sakura Haruno for Kunoichi of the Year? Zane asked, getting a nod from him. Yes, this is true, she was the runner-up, and considering she, much like Sakura, didn't fully devote to her Kunoichi career, she wishes to fix that. She came to me wanting to improve yesterday, and I agreed to help her, but with me going on this mission I can't do that. So with her traveling with me, not only will we be a small group so Tsunade won't be thrown off, but I can also help Ino get to where she was supposed to be, Naruto said, getting a nod from the others as he saw they weren't all too thrilled. Maybe I came at the wrong time? Naruto said, as Kai shook his head saying, oh no, it's not that. We've been looking these things over and evaluating the files this village had since yesterday, and to be honest, how the village hasn't fallen apart yet with the civilians taking funds from the village to use for horrendous purposes like this. It's simply horrible, he said, rubbing his eyes, as Mai came holding the forbidden scroll with several scrolls. Well, here you go, Naruto-kun, the Uzumaki clan scroll, the collective information of all techniques your clans knew, as well as the collected funds they held, she said, getting an appreciative nod from him before he sealed it away. Well, your team has been accepted, and this will be an S-rank mission for the two of you. She has been sighted in Tanzakugai with her apprentice Shizune and her pet pig Taunton. As I said, you're free to take, as long as you need to find her and get her to return to the village. Just do so by whatever means, Mina said, tossing him the black book as Naruto reread through the entire thing, showing genuine disgust. You're free to leave, Naruto, and good luck on your mission, Mai said, as Naruto bowed with Naruto leaving in a shunshin. You know, I thought I just hated paperwork. Mina started getting a nod from those gathered. But I hate having to read someone else's paperwork even more, he groaned, which the others copied before going back to the paperwork. The Yamanaka clan compound. Appearing in front of the Yamanaka compound, Naruto said to Tsuren and Tigress, who assumed their human form. So girls, shall we get our teammate and be on our way? They nodded with a grin as Naruto knocked on the door with Ino and her father appearing at the door as Naruto said, hello Inoichi-sama, I need your daughter for a mission. He nodded out of the doorway, letting the three in as they sat on the couch. Yes, Ino-chan told me about that, and I also wanted to thank you for helping her get stronger. But I want to ask what your opinion is of my daughter. Confused, he said, well, before Ino-chan became a Sasuke fangirl, she and I were close friends and we've just started fixing that patch. Cutting him off, he said, I mean, Naruto, what do you think of her as a woman? I ask because your father and I were friends. In fact, I and many of the clan heads were close to your parents, and when we saw the resemblance you had to Minato, we tried to adopt you only to be denied by Hiruzen with the backing of the Elder Council and the civilians. Looking at Ino, he said, well, Inoichi-san, I have always thought she was beautiful, she's smart and she isn't afraid to speak up when she has to. I know that in the future she's going to be even more stunning than she is now. This I have little to no doubt, just like I have no doubt that she'll be an amazing clan head. She was blushing from the praise as her father smiled, pulling a small scroll from his pocket before rolling it open across the table. He said to Naruto, it's clear to me that you have a big heart and I know that you're going to be in the Kra to restore your families. This is the contract your father and I drew up before you two were born, and this would create an alliance between your clans and ours, sort of like the Ino Shikacho. Whatever decisions you make we will follow, as Ino will become your wife. Naruto and Ino, who joined him, and the others on his side of the couch sat staring at the contract as she grabbed the pen offered by her father, signing it as she said, I made one mistake with the spoiled brat Sasuke. I know I'm not making the wrong choice this time. With her name written, she handed the paper to him as Naruto quickly signed after her without a second thought, smiling at Ino genuinely as she quickly kissed his lips before pulling back with a blush. I hope I'm leaving my baby girl in good hands. Inoichi said, getting a nod from Naruto as he relented. Good, and Naruto, just so you know, if you hurt her in a way that was intentional, I will rewrite your mind to where you believe you're a 6-year-old girl named Suzy, got me? He said seriously, making Naruto nod quickly. Note to self, do not piss off fathers and get help from Inoichi in future for fatherly intimidation tactics, Naruto thought as they all got up and his wife came in with a scroll, handing it to her daughter, kissing her forehead. Now get going, princess, and Naruto look after my daughter Rose, Ino's mother said, getting a positive from him as they walked out. Wrapping her arms around her husband's waist, Rose said, so you think she'll be okay? Kissing her forehead, he said, of course, I could see it in his eyes. Naruto will protect her and help her grow, but right now I think you and I could use some much needed alone time, she purred before racing up the stairs, being followed by him. The East Gate. So Naruto-kun, do you know where Tsunade-sama is? Ino asked, walking next to Naruto with Tigress and Tsuren next to her. According to the information Lady Mai and Lord Minas gave me, she's in Tenzakugai with her apprentice Shizune. If he move fast with little breaks and training, we should make it there in at the most a few weeks, at the max to a couple days, if you want to hurry there and start searching while we continue training, he said, allowing her to weigh her options. Why don't you let me tag along and help? They heard, making Naruto groan as the group of four turned to see Jiraiya ride to the gate on a toad before he drooled, seeing the two summons in their human forms. And hello my two lovely maidens, shall I assist you on this mission while I get you two angels a drink? He said with hearts in his eyes, getting the two to roll their eyes. Sorry Toad Sage, but that's not happening. We're with Naruto-kun and you're not allowed to help on this mission, or would you like to explain to your daimyo why you disobeyed his orders? Tigress said, getting a strange look from the toad, who croaked. Listening to the toad, Jiraiya said, ladies, my friend tells me you two aren't human. Who are you and what are you doing around my grandchild? The two took their original form, getting shocked looks from the toad. And summoner you? He said, getting eye rolls. Yes, Jiraiya of the Toad-san, no, you're not assisting our summoner on this mission, as you'd only get in the way, Tsuren said, getting a threatening croak from the toad under Jiraiya. Watch yourself, Toad, you failed to assist your prized summoner's son while doing nothing to help him. He found our scroll and we took him in and trained him. He is ours, as is his children, and mate's got a problem, take it up with our bosses, Tsuren said. Well, Tigress growled at the toad when its tongue flicked out at Naruto, with Naruto using his Sange to cut it, making the toad dispel. Watch yourself, Jiraiya, you betrayed my father and I have no intention of working with the likes of you if I can help it. Now we're going to be leaving now, so we'll be on our way, Naruto said, walking away with his familiars retake their human forms before they and Ino ran after him while the fallen summoner glared. Time skip later that night. I can't wait to go to bed, Tigra said, stretching as she and the others made a dash with no rest after the run-in with Jiraiya. Yeah, but first Tigress, don't you think we should do that first? Tsunade said, getting a look from Naruto and the others before she sighed, pointing to the clan summoning contract. Since she became Naruto-kun's wife, much like us, she deserves to sign the contract and learn our arts, and I know the perfect taijutsu for her to learn, one that uses her thin frame and her focuses on her flexibility and quick movements, she explained, pulling out a scroll from her pocket. You mean other than her learning both our clan styles, as is? Tigra said, getting a nod from the water dragon. Naruto-koi, could you get out the scroll? Tsunade asked, as they sat on the couch with him grabbing the scroll from the floor as they rolled it out. Naruto-koi. Ino parroted, getting a nod from them as they explained the whole deal between them. So you two are also his wives, and many others. Anything else I should know about? Ino said, staring at them. Well, there is one thing, Naruto said with a sigh, explaining the whole deal from his time training and everything before. When he finished, she sat back. So your clan's home country was betrayed by the village and you want retribution and intend to destroy the village when necessary, as your family was destroyed, as your mom and cousin are part of an organization in an attempt to prevent the Leaf Village's attempt to have a tyrannical rule over the elemental nations. Well, you absorbed the power of the nine-tailed beasts, making you the same creature the sage fought against, she said, getting a nod from him. And you intend on having the clans that were wronged by the mine and many others included to join and follow you to another village, she said, getting a nod from him as she stared at them. If you don't agree with it, you're free to leave, Ino-chan, and end the contract if you desire, he said, as she continued to stare at them before she took her kunai and slice her finger, writing her name in both the tiger contract and the leviathan contract as she rolled it up and grabbed him by his shirt, giving him a kiss. Pulling back, she said, I told you I'm not leaving your side, Naruto-kun, and I meant it, but thank you for being honest with me. He smiled before he gained a sinister grin which Tigress and Tsunade shared, making the blonde shiver. By the way, we're going to run you into the ground training, Ino-chan. I hope you're ready, but for now the girls have to prepare you, he said, as the two carried into the bathroom where a loud disturbance was heard in the bathroom. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Let go of my shirt. Where do you think your hands are going, damn it? He heard from the bathroom before he slipped into his sleep clothes, laying on the bed when the door opened, showing a disturbed Ino and the others wearing their sleep clothes. I hope you don't mind sharing the bed, Ino-chan, he said, lying on his back as Tigress to his left arm while Tsunade took the right. Where am I supposed to sleep then? The blonde asked when Tigress patted his chest. You get to sleep on this bed of handsome hair, Ino-chan. Come on, we gotta get up early to get ready for training and make our way to Tenzakugai, Tigress said, nuzzling her face into his neck. Blushing, she crawled up the bed with her lying on top of him completely with her head on his chest before sleep claimed her as he kissed her head as they all fell asleep. Next morning in a forest. Naruto-kun, what are we doing here? And why am I so tired? Ino asked, wearing her clothes. We're here to start your legitimate training today. As for why you're so tired is because of the seals the girls put on you, he said, getting a questioning look from her. But seals? What did you have them put on me? She asked, alarmed, getting a wave of the hand. No need to worry, just some seals of my design. Gravity and resistant seals to make you stronger and faster, chakra seals that absorb your chakra and pushes it back into your chakra network, causing them to expand, increasing your reserves, he said, getting wide-eyed look. Now today we're going to put you through your paces. We have as long as we need to get Tsunade back, but it's best if we get to Tenzakugai before we do things seriously, he said. So this is to just start me off, she said, getting a nod from them as they handed her a scroll. What's this? She asked as they told her to read it as she complied before going wide-eyed, making the three smile before Naruto smacked his forehead. What is Naruto-kun? Tsunade asked, making him sigh. I forgot I promised Kenpachi I'd fight him after that meeting yesterday, he said, smacking his head, getting a sweat drop to form on the three girls' heads. You still tend to be a bit scatterbrained, Naruto-kun, Ino said, getting a chuckle from him. Yeah, well, I doubt that he'll mind. I didn't even see him in the village before I met you for training yesterday, so it's likely he left already. We'll see him eventually, he said, getting a nod from the others. Now come on, Ino-chan, we gotta get started on your training. Believe me, when we get back you'll be stronger than you were before, he said, making her nod as they started her training. So Naruto-kun, I can't help but ask something, Ino asked, wearing a change of clothes after she had destroyed her last pair training with the help of Tigress and Tsunade. She now wore a black tight sleeveless bodysuit that stopped at her feet, leaving the heel open, with a pair black thigh-high boots and a steel belt that was held by a metal stud with two elbow-length gloves, while the bodysuit showed her developing curves and high CC cup bust. Over the month and a half of training she's grown more lean and taut as her body developed properly with an actual diet thanks to Naruto and the others while growing larger chakra coils. Thanks to Naruto gathering information, they learned that Tsunade was delayed due to some reason, and she wasn't going to be in Tenzakugai for another month and a half, which he informed the two daimyos on, as a heads up. Holding her waist, as she sat on his lap on the remains of a tree they used for training, Naruto said, as Surin and Tigress sat next to them. Sure, ask away. Well, if the village betrayed your clan, and by extension Tsunade, why get her? Why help at all when we could get the various clans and leave while you got her later? The blonde said. Well, my friend, there's a method to Naruto-kun's madness. First, he knows the village would do anything to keep him, and by extension the various future wives of the other clans, your friend Hinata, Anko, and the others, already know of this, thanks to a message he left them, Surin said, making the blonde look at her. Okay, but what's to stop the village from trying anything now? She asked, as Tigress scratched her head. Well, they're already in a load of trouble, as is thanks to the information our friend left the two daimyos. They're waiting for the heat to get off their backs and to appease the clans, and a contract between Naruto-kun and the girls from the village, the brunette said, getting a nod from the Yamanaka heiress. But what would stop them from trying something after the fact? She asked, getting a shrug. Well, the daimyos are keeping a permanent eye on the village, and while the village may think they're smarter than the daimyos, they are not by any means. So if they try anything, the village loses all funding and mission income from the fire daimyo, leaving the mess. Either way they cut it anyway, Naruto said, as she nodded. Plus Naruto wants them all under his protection, as a precaution, knowing that the cage is already up Schitt's Creek, as is for doing what he has to our lovely wolf, Tigress said, kissing his cheek, as she and Surin did the same for the blonde. Adding her thigh, he said, alright Ino-chan, let's get to training again. We're going to be working on your ninjutsu, since you have an affinity for Futen, Suiton, and Raiten. We're going to be having a mass shadow clone training session, as they practice the elemental manipulation tests to master using those elements. She nodded, bouncing off his lap, showing her firm backside, as Naruto and the others stood up when she created over 4,000 shadow clones, making Naruto grin. Thanks to the seals he placed on her, expanding her coils to match his own, she now had enough to throw S rank around without worry, although she lacked the control, coming just short of low Sannin in control. As the three each created a clone, with Naruto creating one last clone to teach fire, he had them lead the massive army of clones deeper into the forest, while the four stood where they were. Okay Ino-chan, time for your evaluation thus far, Naruto said, as Surin tossed her a small scroll which she opened, reading her current results. Ino Yamanaka training results. The Jutsu. Mid-Jounin Low Anbu, styles known. Tiger style, Leviathan style, Shaolin Kung Fu. Ninjutsu. Mid-Chunin Low Jounin, known elements. 0, Nose Clan, Academy, Shadow Clone, and various C-A rank non-elemental ninjutsu. Ninjutsu. High Jounin, Yuinjutsu. Level 9 Uzumaki, knowledge of various notes, bombs, and seals. Weapon of preference. Twin Katana, double-bladed spear, same as one of Naruto's. Chakra reserves. Jubi level. Chakra control. High Sannin. Stamina. High Jounin. Reflexes. High Jounin. Rank. Mid-A rank. As you know, we've been training for a little over a month and a half, and your reserves were made to match mine, thanks to the seals which destroyed themselves, leaving only the gravity and resistant seals. I feel by the time we find Tsunade, you could be considered a S rank, Naruto said, as the two summons next to him nodded. Add in the training under our mothers you'll be undergoing when we deem you ready to train in and learn from them, Tigress said, getting a whoop from the blonde before she promptly stopped. Wait, what about the others? What about them? Won't they need to get stronger for this to work out? Ino asked, getting a grin from him and the others. Before Naruto-kun left, he left them all scrolls that hold clones of all of us to train them, so they won't be a problem. In fact, Anko, Hana, Kurenai, Hinata, AM, and Yuga will all be stronger than before by the time we get back, Naruto said with a fanged grin which she grew to love. We're getting off track. We have to focus on Ino-chan and getting in as much training as possible before we meet Tsunade in a month, and we still have the snake to worry about. More than likely he's coming for her, Surin said, getting a nod from the others. Who's the snake? You mean Orochimaru Hiruzen's traitorous student? Ino asked, getting a nod. Why would he be looking for Tsunade-sama? Ino asked curiously, getting a grin from Naruto and the others. Well, into my lovely blonde, I've always been the stealthy sort growing up. Hell, I managed to sneak into the tower and the information department of the INT squad and learned that the curse seal he branded on Sasuke and Anko-chan don't come without sacrifice. Naruto started getting curious glances from the blonde. What sacrifice would that be, Naruto-kun? She asked, watching Naruto and the others stand with her. Well, he infuses a portion of his soul into the seal, making it possible for him to possess the bearer of the curse mark, as it weakens the bearer's willpower. So when he takes over the body, he swallows the soul of the body's original owner, he said, making her turn a sickly green. That's sick. She started, getting a nod from the others. Yeah, it is, and therein lies the problem, my dear. You see, he's fractured his soul so many times it's become a liability for him. His own body, or more so the body he's in along with the bodies he will over, begins to reject him like a transplanted organ, rejects the new body it's been placed in where he has to do it every few years after taking it over, Naruto said, getting a curious look from her. So that's why he's going to Tsunade Sama to push the disease back as long as possible for him to take over the next body, right, in which case would be Sasuke. She said, getting a nod. Wait, but can't you remove the curse seal? She asked, getting a half and half from Naruto. I could, but the seal could only be removed if the person with the seal isn't corrupt. Since we were kids, Sasuke's soul has been bathed in darkness even before he got the seal, to where in the academy he made it impossible for kids to graduate because he horribly crippled them out of fear they'd be a threat to him. Anko on the other hand absolutely despises the curse seal and resists its temptation at every turn, making it possible since she's been fighting its influence, he said, getting a nod from her. We're getting a focus, we've got to work on Ino's chakra control, so create another couple dozen and have them mix up the leaf balancing, water walking, and tree walking exercises while we work on your taijutsu, and Surin said, getting a nod from the blonde. Creating another 30 clones after chewing a chakra pill, they went into the forest to perform the chakra control exercises. Alright Ino-chan, while your platoon of clones are working on elemental manipulation and chakra control, we will be picking back up on your physical training as we've focused on your ninjutsu, and Surin said, getting a nod as she and Ino stood across from each other. Watching the spar, Tigress asked with her head in Naruto's lap with a purr scratching her head. Looking down at her sharp eyes, he leaned down, planting a kiss on her lips. He said, sitting back up, she's improved greatly over the time we've trained her form, where she didn't last even a minute against either of us, and now she's able to handle us for a good couple of hours when we really let go. I would say it's a tough call with those two. Seeing the two pull out their weapons, the two got into a battle with it still being close, making Naruto and Surin watch and treat. True, but don't you think they're kinda overdoing it? Maybe, even just a little bit? She asked, getting a shrug. If they do or don't, it's no problem, besides we got time to kill, and if they exhaust themselves we can relax and let her clones dispel as she boosts her control and master the exercises so we can get to the elemental ninjutsu portion of her training, then we can get her ready to learn from your and Surin's moms, Naruto said as they watched Surin and Ino dance around each other, ducking and dodging each other. See Ken-chan, I told you he was here. They heard, making them turn to see Kenpachi and Yuichiro again walking towards them as they waved enthusiastically. Yeah, but you're the one who told me he was in wave. We've been following your direction this entire time and we've been everywhere but here, Kenpachi said with a drawl as the girl puffed her cheeks as she waved her hand dismissively while looking to the side. You chose to go in the opposite direction every time I told you where to go, Kenny. She said, sticking out her tongue, making the four sweat drop. Leaning over to the others, he whispered, what makes me think that this is a regular thing with those two? About as likely as you having a love for ramen, Ino said, getting a glare from Naruto. One, that's a low blow, and two, I think they're about done, Naruto said as they turned towards the two as they stopped arguing. Where the hell are you kids? I've been waiting at the final exam stadium since the meeting ended. Kenpachi said, getting a raised eyebrow from Naruto. What do you mean? I checked the entire village and didn't see either of you. I just assumed you left and thought, oh well, we'll see them again since we had a mission to get Tsunade to be the new Naruto said, getting a twitching eyebrow from Kenpachi as he stared at Yuichiro, who whistled innocently, making Naruto sweat drop. She's bad at giving directions, isn't she? Naruto said, getting a nod from the bell-wearing swordsman. Like you wouldn't believe. Oh well, I found you now and I'm getting my fight, he said as the young girl jumped off his shoulder and ran to the others while Naruto unsealed his and drew it from its sheath. Whistling in respect for Naruto's sword, he said, impressive looking blade, boy, but I hope you don't carry that thing around just for show. Seeing the boy's eyes grow cold and narrow, he said, I don't try to impress, I try to kill. Come. In an instant, Naruto was in front of Kenpachi as he blocked his downward swing with his sword, struggling to do so as Araki attempted to kick Naruto in the chest, only for Naruto to jump, landing on the outstretched limb. Do try harder, Araki-san, or this is going to be a rather short fight, Naruto said, jumping back as Naruto ran towards him again, going for a slash across the chest, only to see his sword not even land a scratch, much to his and the others' shock. Tackling, he said, nice try, boy, but if you want to kill me you're going to have to be serious and not come at me with that pitiful excuse you call killer intent. Show me that boy from before. Pushing Naruto off balance, he slashed Naruto from his right shoulder to his left hip, coating the ground in his blood, making Naruto slide back with a hiss. Damn, I kinda didn't want to go all out, but if that's what you want, it's only fair I be a good host, Naruto said, causing the area to be hit with an unearthly pressure, making Zaraki have a psychotic grin on his face, while the girls kept a hold of Ino and Yuichiro to ease the effects on them. Yes, yes, yes. That's it, boy, makes me feel alive. he said, ripping his eye patch, as the area was affected by his killer intent, as well causing the air to ripple and distort as the two became a blur with nothing but sparks and the sounds of metal meeting metal could be heard. But the others, this killer intent is unreal, Ino said, staring as she saw Naruto and Zaraki fade in and out of existence as they reappeared in the field as they clashed time and again, with the taller male receiving several slashes across the chest with a cut between his eyes. Naruto wasn't without injury himself, as his chest was covered in cuts as well that were slowly healing, while he had a cut just above his right eye, causing blood to cover the right portion of his face as the redhead spat blood from his mouth. Do you think Naruto-kun is going to be okay? I mean, yeah, he's strong, but from what you all told me about this guy I can't help but worry, Ino asked, getting a nod from the as she swung her legs on a tree branch. Foxy-chan is going to be just fine, he's giving Kenny what he wanted, Yuichiro said with a smile as she saw the two men run around each other as their swords clashed again. What is it that he wanted anyways? Tigress asked, getting a small smile from the little girl. To die by the hands of someone stronger than him. I've traveled with Kenny 2-chan since I was barely a year old, crawling in the snow and know when he found me and took me in, and since then not a single ninja or swordsman could beat him, Yuichiro said, seeing the crazed grin on Zaraki's face. To say the three were shocked was an understatement, as Surin said, regaining the wind that was unknowingly knocked out of her. Why would he want to die? Why would he leave you alone after taking you in? She smiled, saying it's what he wants, and it makes him happy. Besides, I knew about this for a while, and I'm ready for it. The three just stared at her before returning to the fight between Zaraki and Naruto. Leaning to the right, missing a downward swing, Naruto swung up, meeting the attack, causing the two swords to clash again, as his jagged sword snapped with a Naruto, making the return swing across his chest with a deep cut, making him cough up blood. Huffing, as he gasped in pain, Kenpachi said, "Kid, finish it, I'm done." Looking the man in the eye, he nodded, as he formed his grip before plunging it into his chest through the heart before removing it as he fell back, putting the sword in its sheath as he turned against the dying man when he felt something grip onto his pants, making him look down to see Zaraki with the same grin, except he had a more satisfied expression, like he fulfilled his life's dream. "Hey kid, see, can I ask you a favor?" he said, wheezing, making Naruto put his attention towards the dying man. "Whatever it is, I'll do it within the best of my ability," Naruto said, getting a smile that seems out of place on the man. "I want you to raise Ichiru as your own. It doesn't matter if you do it as your daughter or sister, but just don't leave the girl alone again. I chose you as my opponent knowing I was going to lose, and I can tell you will be a great parent or brother to her." As I couldn't, he coughed violently, catching his breath. Taking a deep breath as tears lightly stung his eyes, he said, I never told this to her, but I always loved that girl like a daughter, and I know you look out for her just as well and give her what I couldn't. Haha, just don't tell her I loved her like that. Don't want to ruin my image. Got it, kid?" Naruto nodded, getting a grin from the man as his eyes slowly closed as he nodded before his breathing stopped, making Naruto and the others behind him bow their heads after Naruto put a stasis seal on the man's body before putting it in a pocket dimension to be buried later at a place he won't be disturbed. As Naruto walked over to the others, Yuichiro said with tears in her eyes, seeing the man she saw as a father dead. "What did Kenny say, Foxy?" Crouching to her level, he said, looking into her eyes, "Kenpachi told me he wanted me to look after you. If you wish, I'd be more than happy than to raise you as my daughter or sister. If you want, of course, you don't have to call me Nai-chan or 2-chan, as you can continue to call me what you always have, but do know that I will look after you and raise you as my own." She stared at him for a moment before wrapping her arms around his neck with a nod, making him smile as he put Yuichiro on his shoulders with her hands on top of his head, giving her mile-long smile. "Come on everyone, it's late and we can continue training in the morning," Naruto said as the others nodded, with them heading to town Hanzakugai Hotel. "So Yuichiro-chan, have any idea what you want to eat?" Naruto asked, standing at the counter as she shook her head, giving a no when Ino suggested rice and fish, which they all agreed to. "Foxy Nai-chan," Yuichiro said, making him turn to the little pinkette as she fidgeted in her seat. "What's up?" Naruto said, leaning towards her as she stared at the counter. "Can you teach me to be a ninja while I learn?" she asked, getting a smile from Naruto and the others as he ruffled her hair, puffing out her cheeks. "Of course you can, after I perform a blood ritual tonight." "Of course," he said, making her raise an eyebrow after she fixed her hair. "Blood ritual, what's that?" she asked, getting a grin from Naruto as he flashed his for a moment before looking towards Surin to explain. Sighing, she said, "A blood ritual is a ritual clans use to take in members that are not part of their clan, as it rewrites their nada where it matches the person who performed it. As the ritual is performed, you cut your palm and his palm and put the two cuts together as he forces his energy through your cut to rewrite your genetics. So I'll officially be his daughter or sister." "Why didn't you just say that in the first place?" she said, making the four stare at her with a raised eyebrow. "Wait a second, you understood that?" Ino asked, getting a blank expression from the young girl. I'm 6, not stupid, you know there's a difference since I have more common sense underneath my pink head of hair, unlike that loud girl, she said, simply making Naruto and the others smack their foreheads with a resounding smack. Ichiro, seeing this, just stared at them curiously, thinking I seem to be involved with a lot of weird people. Seeing the smoke coming from behind Naruto, she tapped Naruto on the arm, making him look down to see her point at the stove, causing him to turn. Oh shit. Seeing him panic, she giggled as he ran around the kitchen spastically before he sighed in relief, much to the little girl's amusement. Later that night, okay Ichiro, we're going to perform the ritual, and this is going to hurt a bit, but I need you to stay conscious, alright? Naruto said, as he and the little girl sat in the middle of a large seal array with Tsuren and Tigris sitting at opposite ends, as Tigris was behind Naruto and Tsuren was behind Yachiru, with both of their hands pressed firmly against the other's back. Nodding, Naruto took out a kunai and sliced his palm before the little girl held her palm out, allowing him to slice it without a flinch, making sure the two cuts were deep enough to have the blood flow. Grabbing her hand tightly, Naruto focused his chakra and Yakai into her, making her gasp in pain, as Tsuren and Tigris focused natural chakra through them to soothe the pain, as he activated his Rinnegan to see her chakra pathways surge open and expand at an incredible rate, while the little girl whimpered in pain from the Yakai entering her system. We're almost finished Yachiru, just a little longer. The Yakai is saturating your chakra network and copying it, creating its own larger reserves. Once that's finished it will be over, Naruto said, as she nodded with a pained expression on her face, before promptly passing out once the process was complete. Wiping the sweat off their foreheads, Naruto said, let's put her in her bed so she can rest while my chakra, Yakai, can alter her body. By tomorrow she should become a demon much like me, and Ino, after I marked you, and could you put the gravity and resistance seals on her, Tsuren? The Leviathan nodded, carrying the girl on her back as she grabbed the seal kit. Alarmed, the blonde said, wait, I'm a demon now? The three nodded as Naruto said, yeah, that marks as a slower process of what we just did to Ichiro, as it focused my Yakai and chakra through my fangs as it saturated your coils. The only reason you haven't sprouted your tails is because your body is still adjusting to the Yakai. By tomorrow or next week, you'll wake up with your senses fully enhanced and a pair of 10 fluffy blonde tails and ears of your very own to cuddle. This made the blonde blush, as she was known to obsess over Naruto's tails because they were so warm and fluffy that sometimes she would wrap them around herself as a blanket or use them as a pillow to rest after training, or just rub them as she relaxed from training. Will it hurt as much as it did for Yuichiro-chan? Ino asked as she and the others stripped out of their clothes into their sleep clothes, which for Tsuren consisted of light blue see-through nightgown. Tigris wore a pair of boy shorts and a sports bra holding her C-cup breast, and Ino wore the same as Tigris, shaking his head as he leaned back, allowing them to take their usual positions as he said, giving each of them a kiss. No, while it will hurt, it will be marginally easier on you compared to what it will for you, although there will be some side effects from the transformation. Raising an eyebrow, she said, side effects? What side effects? Tigris combing a hand through the blonde's hair, she said, well, it would be better to explain when it happens, but for now just go with the human term of being horny when the process is complete. She blushed, getting a grin from the three as the others yawned, making him say, let's get some sleep and deal with that later. So I'm going to be a horny wolf girl when the transformation is finished, she said, getting a nod from the others, making her moan as Naruto and the others gave her a kiss before they all went to sleep. The next morning, sitting at the kitchen counter, Naruto said, nursing a cup of coffee with the others, well, would look who's up finally. Good morning, Ichiro. Turning, they saw the little girl mumble, scratching her head as they noticed that she now sported a pair of wolf dark pink bordering black on top of her head like her hair that was the same color of her ears, with a red fringe over her right eye, while she also had a long wolf tail poking from the top of her shorts. Opening her eyes, she had dark red eyes as she said, morning Foxy Nai-chan. Waving to her, she made her way to the bathroom while Naruto counted down on his fingers while saying quietly 3, 2, 1. On cue, they heard a loud scream come from the bathroom, making Naruto snigger while the new demon came running out of the room, alarmed and extremely afraid as she said, WW, what happened to me? Walking to her, he said, putting a hand on her head, trying to calm her down and relax. Ichiro, you just became a demon like myself, and Ino, when she becomes one, so will all your other Ni-chans. The process, I used my blood to alter your DNA to be red as my daughter sister, giving you my bloodlines which we can train in. Now you get cleaned up and put on some training gear so we can begin your training. So can I be as strong as you? She said, getting a grin from him and the others getting a new formed fang grin from the little girl before she ran to the bathroom before peeking her head out of the door. Cutting her off before she could speak, he said, just imagine yourself without the ears and tail and they'll disappear under an illusion that can't be traced. She nodded before closing the door as Ino said, I got a question, Naruto-kun. Looking at her, she took that as the sign to ask, what is the importance of the number of tails? I mean, in the textbooks the 9 tails was considered the strongest because it had the most tails, but it has to be more to it than that, right? Tsuren nodded, saying, well, it does tie together the fact that the tails act as a power level. one tail would be the equivalent of a cage, and 10 tails like Naruto-kun would be considered beyond S rank or even an army of S ranks, so it would be considered his ranking would be that of an Z class, which is what the original 10 tails was, as his mates we all are, as strong as him. The blonde nodded saying so the one tail which me, the others, and Yuichiro at the moment are considered cage level when we master that tail, and the others are just a level above that for each tail. Naruto shook his head, saying no, it varies for the tailed beasts for the one tails it is beyond cage level, as are its mates, should he have any, same for the two tails, and up, and their mates are children, as the power they gain from them is that cap, unless they kill of a higher tail, letting you take its place. Coming to the conclusion, Ino said so the tails act as an indicator of how strong you are, and each tail acts as a marker to show how much of that power you can use. So even with the one tail we are, as strong as a cage, can we be stronger? They nodded, as Yuichiro came out wearing her clothes from yesterday while sitting at the table. Naruto pushed a plate to her, letting her eat the breakfast Naruto made for the young girl, as she shoved it down quickly. Alright, let's head down to the forest, and we can train, and begin your training session Yuichiro-chan, Naruto said, as she nodded hopping on his back while they ran out the window. Forest area. Alright Ino-chan, I want you to perform the same, as yesterday, and Yuichiro we're going to work on your chakra control, and beginning ninjutsu training for the time being, so I want you to perform the seal Ino does alright. And then wait for our instructions, Naruto said, getting a nod from the little girl, as she created as many clones as Ino had, being well over a little over 400. As Naruto performed the shadow clone he created 8 clones to oversee the training. Well, Naruto said alright, all clones of Yuichiro, I want you to split up in 4 groups of 100 and follow a clone of mine through the forest to train in your chakra control. They nodded as they followed the clones in separate groups in different directions of the forest, while the originals of everyone stood where they were, making Naruto nod. But now a thing you should know about the shadow clone is that it is the perfect training tool for people like you, me, and the others, Naruto said, making her and Ino raise an eyebrow. How is it perfect for us? His daughter's sister asked, getting a small smile from Naruto. It's perfect because whatever the clone learns the original does as well when it dispels, which makes things perfect for chakra control and training, and now that you're a demon you're immune to the mental backlash. So until I say your chakra control is suitable enough you won't be doing any overly extensive training until you've fully mastered the chakra control exercises you're learning now, he said, getting a nod from the girl. Now then I want you to create another couple hundred clones as they will practice the 3 basic with my clones while I and the others start your physical training, Naruto said, getting a nod from her as she created another couple hundred clones while Naruto created a few clones to lead them down into the forest a little closer to where they were. Seeing the girl move rather stiffly, Naruto answered her unspoken question. You're possibly wondering why your body feels so heavy and restricted when you're just wearing your normal clothes, right? Hitting the nail on the head she nodded with a huff, saying I'm already tired just lifting my arms to form the sign. He nodded while pointing to Surin, who looked apologetically understandable, as I had Surin fit you with gravity and resistant seals to help with your physical training. Seeing as you're most adjusted to a sword that knocks a thing to learn out of the way, but we have to understand your physical skills since in the bingo book you're considered an S rank because of your killer intent, so nobody knows what else you know besides the fact you carry around a sword. I only know the basics and to be honest, and no real style, as Kenny taught me what little he knew in kendo, she said, getting a nod from him as he understood, seeing as the deceased swordsman relied on his tough skin, massive killer intent, and strength to win him fights, while he wasn't known for his style. Well, until we can find you a suitable style we'll just work on improving your swordsmanship. Now in the meantime I want you to do this to get used to the seals I put on you, and from there we'll work on a proper fighting style as well, Naruto said, giving her a scroll to read, making her nod. Ichiroku Sajinshi trial training routine. Push-ups. 10 sets of 15. Sit-ups. 10 sets of 15. Squat thrusts. 5 sets of 10. Tree. 10 sets of 20 punches and kicks both limbs. 5 laps around the clearing. Reading this she gave a large smile before nodding, starting with the top of the list, doing as she was told, albeit with a slow start. At least she's got enthusiasm, something she's going to need for the training later on with the others, Naruto said, getting a nod from Surin and Tigris. I feel like she's going to get along well with my little brother, Tigris said, imagining the two of them working together. Yeah, I can imagine Byako and Yuichiro being a frightening combination, but we have to wait and see how the others feel about her and the others signing their contract or contracts, Naruto said, getting a nod, understanding they have to pass their test when scrolls appeared from his lap. What are those? Ino asked, looking from Yachiru, who finished the sit-ups, to Naruto, who was looking through the scrolls, making him look at the contents within. Well, when I developed the others' training schedule when we left, I placed seals on them that will send me the results for each of them, and so I can send them the next part of their training. It's also very useful for delivering messages, Naruto said, quickly writing out the next training schedule for them all, and including several collections for their collective affinities, and sent them back to the ones who sent them. Fainting, the little girl said, I finished the exercises like you told me. Surprised, he saw she had thoroughly worked up a sweat, making him smile, saying, grabbing a canister of cold water for her to drink, very good, take a 15-minute break, and we can continue to see how well you do in Taijutsu and throwing weapons. She nodded with an exhausted grin, taking the cold beverage in hand before guzzling it down, while savoring the frozen feeling that cooled her throat, leaning back in satisfaction, while Ino did the same after breaking from her Bujutsu practice, learning the movements for her long-range weapon. So how are you doing in your Bujutsu training, getting the handle of it? Tigress asked, getting a so-so motion. I got the movements down, and the style fits, it's just I need actual combat experience to fully use it. I suppose if we run into bandits I'll use it, since I have full use over my swords that all of you made me, the blonde said when a rustling in the bushes got their attention. Out came two hooded figures wearing black cloaks with red clouds spread across the clothing. As Ino got out her weapon, Naruto put a hand on her shoulder, shaking his head with a smile. Hey girls, I honestly wasn't expecting a visit so soon from any of you until we've made contact with Tsunade, Naruto said, getting a feminine cackle from the taller of the two, who had a bandaged sword on her back. Well, hello Wolfie, pretty lucky we ran into you all day, wouldn't you say, Hisaya? The taller of the two said, as they pulled down their hoods, showing two of the many infamous S-rank missing kunoichi, making the platinum blonde teen pale, while the silver-haired woman nodded with a grin on her face. To be fucking honest, I was expecting it since we were making a beeline to Tenzaku anyway from Kusa making money, the scythe-carrying woman said with a large grin, as the two walked over to Naruto, giving him a hug, pushing their chests against him, while Ino stared wide-eyed. Naruto-kun, do you know who they are? Ino said with a stutter, reaching for her weapon, making Naruto stare at her. Judging from your stutter, I'll assume you do as well, he said, getting a frantic nod as she steeled herself. Those two are the immortal, the S-rank kunoichi, and Kishi the tailless, and former member of the Seven Swordsmen, also an S-rank kunoichi, she said, getting a grin from the two. The immortal, I knew I had a title, but I never imagined it was that fucking awesome. But I gotta say, blonde, for you to know about our ranks and reputations and still have the nerve to challenge us means you've got guts, the light-haired girl said, grabbing her red triple-bladed scythe from her back. You know what we do to people, how guts, kid? Kishi said with a large grin, making the Eris shake with her weapon in hand, before biting her lip, shaking her head. If you were anyone else we'd expose your guts, but you got our sexy wolf's mark on you like the rest of us, and that means you are safe with us, Kishi said, giving an open-handed pat on the back, making her fumble, getting a cackle from her and the scythe-wielding maniac when her eyes landed on the little girl sitting next to Tigress, when she got huge hearts in her eyes when she vanished. As everyone looked around for the scythe-wielding kunoichi, Yachiru squealed as they saw Hisaya back where she was previously holding Yachiru in her arms, nuzzling her cheek against a little girl who was giggling from the sudden affection the scythe wielder was showing her. See, you know, they may be a bit extravagant at times, but they're as human as you or me, well, I should say demonic seeing, as I mark them as well, but you get my point, they're good, don't worry, and besides, they did train me for the finals during the exams. In fact, Naruto said, pausing when he turned, looking into the forest. Iri-chan mind coming out and saying hi, Naruto said, making the blonde look at him like he was nuts, talking to nobody when she saw the tree have something grow from it, until a woman who wore the same cloak as the other two, while her body was black on one side while the other was white with long green hair and a Venus flytrap on her shoulders, about to swallow her head. Hello Ino Yamanaka, heiress of Yamanaka clan, the plant woman said with a two-tone voice, making the young girl see it match the white and black skin tone, as one side was soft while the other was dark with a slight gruff to it. Not wanting to seem rude, she responded, hello, wait, plant-like woman, are you the one who gave Daimyo the black book? Nodding, she said, yes, I did. Before you ask, yes, this is a bloodline, and no, I don't know where it originated from. I'm guessing you get that question a lot, Ino asked, getting a two-tone sigh from the plant woman with a nod given out of annoyance. More times than I'm willing to admit. Oh, and Katsu made these for you too. She made some for the others as well, which I delivered, Yuri said, pulling out 4 matching cloaks of the same design, which Naruto grinned, putting it on as it fit him perfectly. Imagine how Sasuke wore his. Ino's and the others were the standard in Akatsuki design, being a simple cloak with a hood and a high collar inside. When Hisaya said, oh, and expect a guest coming to Tenzaku besides Cow Tits and her lovely assistant, 2 people really. Getting smacked in the head by the blue-skinned woman, she said, don't cuss in front of the little cutie. Do-chan, who are these people? Yuichiro asked with a cute expression while her cheek was still squished by the worshipper. They are your auntie-sisters' mothers, however you want to address them. I suppose you can call them as either, as long as they're fine with it, he said, sweat dropping, as Hisaya has yet to let go of the little girl before Kishi took Yuichiro from the raving Akatsuki member, giving her a peck on the forehead before letting her down. As she ran to Yuri, surprising the woman with a hug before she ran to the others. Who are we to expect a Tenzaku other than Tsunade and Shizune? He asked, as Ino thought for a minute. What about Orochimaru? You did say he is in need of help after using the curse seal so many times. I'm more surprised on how Orochimaru is still breathing right now, Ino said, getting a nod from the three women. The SR Slithery former teammate Orochimaru and his pet Kabuto. He is searching for Tsunade, but he isn't the only person heading to Tenzaku-gai, as it is someone who's been dying to see you since you left for the finals. Now if you'll excuse us, we have to head back to the base. Her leader Sama is going to have our heads, Kishi said, getting a nod, as the three of them kissed Naruto and left waving goodbye as the three vanished back into the forest. Seeing the look the platinum blonde was giving him, he said, what? You were trained by some of the most dangerous S-rank Kunoichi in the world, and you're going to ask me what's next? You're going to tell me Madara Uchiha, your grandfather, and the most dangerous S-rank ninja in the elemental nations, is alive? Ino said, getting a chuckle from Naruto and the others, causing her to smack her forehead. Oh, please don't tell me that's true, she said in desperation, getting a negative from the others. Oh no, not at all, and she is actually my great-grandmother, to be precise. After the battle against my great-granduncle Hashirama, she made it to Yuzu and met my mom's great-grandfather, and 2 generations later my mom was born, he said, getting a nod before she halted. Wait, did you say she Madara Uchiha is a woman? She said, getting a nod from him. Yet although her name is Kurogami Uchiha, actually before she left Konoha, she was a bit of a tomboy, to be honest, and she kept her chest bound through her entire life after puberty, since her father was a sexist pig and wanted a son to lead the clan. Back then it was only the eldest child of the clan could rule. But you get the idea with how many clans are, he said, getting a nod from the blonde, remembering how her father told her about her granddad protesting to her being the heiress to run the clan when her dad stepped down as clan head. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense, but did your great-granduncle know, or even the Sandame for that matter? She asked, getting a negative from the three. No, he only knows her masculine persona Madara, and that's how she wants it, although we'll have to deal with the rest at a later point, since it's getting late. Ino, dispel your clones at the interval you usually do it, he said, getting a nod, as in the background several large plumes of smoke formed, showing signs of their destruction. Same goes for you. I want you to imagine the clones dispelling together, okay? He said, getting a nod, as she closed her eyes when a large plume formed, slowly followed by the others, as she wavered slightly, causing her to be caught by Naruto. Whoa there, Yuichiro, that's going to happen a couple of times until you get used to it, but, as you can see, the effects of the shadow clone has its advantages. You have as much chakra as me and the others do, so it master it every day. We'll have clones work on chakra control, and since you've mastered the basic control exercises, we'll move on to the more advanced techniques tomorrow. Well, we do a more vigorous physical training method from tomorrow on, he said, getting a tired nod before she passed out, making him smile. So Naruto, how long do you think it would take to get her at a high enough point to start learning the summons? Tigress asked, getting a shrug. I wouldn't know, but from my clone's knowledge it took her the day to get her control from an academy student to that of a, so I would say the clone's working on her chakra control. She should have Sannin level control by the time we get back to the village, and we can work on her ninjutsu, and, as well, he said, getting a nod, as they walked back to the hotel. 1 month overview. Over the time span of the month, reprieve, Ino and Yuichiro grew in terms of skill, as well as power, with both of them reaching at the minimum of 4 and 3 tails respectively, and during the month Yuichiro's chakra control grew well enough to start further in her ninjutsu when they learned, thanks to the ritual giving her Naruto's and use of every element, although that is to say she only knew about a dozen for each element at the moment, and all from the range of low C to high A, as he wanted her to master them before they moved on to learning more. And, as they suspected, she and Ino signed the summoning contract for the Leviathans and Tigers, while Yuichiro has a strong friendship with Tigress's brother. The two are a perfect team, both hot-headed but also determined, as the two show it in their training when the bonding process was performed, making Byako Yuichiro familiar in the summoning world. Once Naruto deemed she was ready, Byako had reverse summoned her to the summoning realm to train into jutsu, and which she did remarkably well in, as Naruto and the others received reports on her progress, which was rather quick, as her was considered to be high thanks to her kendo training and spars with Kenpachi, while it was starting to border level, as was her taijutsu thanks to her training in gravity and resistance seals. Danzakugai Hotel. Naruto-kun, please can we go one more time, I want another taste of my sexy wolf, Ino said with a moan, rubbing her face into the crook of his neck in their bed, getting a groan from Naruto, as Surin and Tigress went back to the summoning realm to train more with their moms for more training, as they have on a basis to be of further use to Naruto. Grabbing her firm round ass from under the covers with one hand while using his other to comb through her now platinum silver hair with her old blonde forming in streaks, Naruto opened an eye as he stared at her, saying, home, I know you want to go again, but Tsunade is supposed to be here today, and we have to be on guard, especially with Orochimaru and his lackey in the area as well. He thought to himself, ever since we've mated she's been openly and overly affectionate, although that's not too bad, she just has to get used to her libido I suppose, and then she'll be fine, although she's the type to enjoy a fight, and that bloodlust being a combination. Oh please Naruto-kun, just one more time, and we can leave, she said, causing her bright blue eyes to grow bigger with the slits to constrict, while pursuing her lower lip, making him roll his eyes with a groan, as he felt her hand grip his member, stroking it. Looking at her he sighed before pulling her head up to his, giving her a kiss before switching their positions with him hovering over her, kissing her neck, as he said, fine, one more time, but then we have to go find Tsunade, okay? Not giving a reply, she instead gave a long and throaty purr in pleasure when he sucked on a sensitive spot on her neck while she wrapped her arms around him, feeling him push into her as she gave a long hiss in pleasure. He had to guess all those lessons Hisane and Anko walked him through on how to please women was a godsend, despite the embarrassment of being given the talk at the age of 6, well they had him practice with them as he got older. Hours later, walking down the streets of Konoha, Naruto looked to the side and saw Ino had a permanent grin on her face while her eyes were hazy with satisfaction, lust, and love shining as the two walked down the streets. Seeing her still distracted he rolled his eyes, saying, so where do you think we should look first, Ino Haim? About to speak they heard a loud explosion in the distance, making them turn to see a loud cloud of dust, making them turn to each other, when Naruto grabbed a man running past them and said, hey, what's the cause of the explosion just now? There was a large snake that brought the castle down, he said, running away, causing the two to nod to each other before running towards the destruction. Danzakugai Castle. Arriving at the scene they saw what was once a well-known castle in the town was now just a pile of rubble with a large crater far from it, making Ino say, was this all Orochimaru? He shook his head, saying no, the castle was, but the crater spells Tsunade without a doubt. Raising an eyebrow she asked, how do you know it's her? I mean the snake itself had to be large enough to cause the tower to collapse like this. How do we know it wasn't the snake? As well, I mean we would have noticed they were around the village. After it's not too difficult to notice 2S rank ninja walking around in broad daylight. He nodded before saying that may be true, Ino, but we're talking about 2 of the 3 Sannin, and they have had years to master their skills, and hiding their chakra signature isn't that surprising, to be honest. She shrugged, saying, okay, so where do you think it would be the best to look for her? Tilting his head he said, well, let's think over what defines her and go from there. She likes to gamble, but her luck is always against her unless it's something that involves her causing her to win, which acts as a warning sign, and she is a massive drinker. And her breasts are bigger than your head with a firm ass, Ino said with a grin, seeing Naruto nod before her caught what she said, making him cut a glare at her, which she whistled at innocently. Yes, there is that, but let's focus on the other points, and she also has a clean pig with beads around its neck as a pet with her assistant and apprentice Shizune with her at all times, he said, getting a nod from her. So we visit every bar and casino in the town. That doesn't sound too hard. I mean, how many could there be of each in here? 4 or 5 of both, Ino said, getting a nod. About that many, so want to create a couple clones and have them scour the place in pairs to narrow down our search, he said, getting a nod, as they created 4 clones each before they changed their clothes into a pair of nice clothes and ran off. You just want to screw a couple casinos into bankruptcy, she said, getting an insulted expression from her future husband as Naruto scoffed. No, but if they themselves are willing to part with their hard-earned money, who am I to deny them? Naruto said, getting an eye roll from the blonde. Whatever, sexy, let's just get somewhere to wait for our clones, Ino said, grabbing Naruto by his arm, dragging him to a high point in the village as the two sat on a tree at the top branch with Ino sitting on his lap as they watched the people in the town walk around enjoying themselves in silence. Half hour later, after a moment of peace, Naruto felt something poke his head, making him crack open an eye, seeing his and Ino's clones standing in front of them with 4 scrolls in hand as he pocketed them before they dispelled, causing the platinum-haired woman to open her eyes. I still can't believe you got that much money in only half an hour, making them go out bankrupt, Naruto-kun, Ino said as she got up, standing on the branch stretching as Naruto got up as well. Hey, one of your clones said I'm just lucky, so so mine decided to call her on it, but I am still thoroughly impressed with how much we made on top of the large amount my parents had in their collective accounts, he said, as he put the scrolls in his pouches. It's safe to say you're the richest shinobi in the history of the elemental nations, Ino said, getting a nod from Naruto, as they stared at the places their clones were. Well, we eliminated 4 of the bars and casinos, so all that leaves is, Ino said, looking down at a small shack that left much to be desired. A small building compared to the other large monuments to gambling that you wouldn't suspect, Naruto finished, as they hopped down, landing on their feet with practiced ease. Shall we confront Tsunade and no Naruto-kun? Ino asked, getting a nod when he felt someone was watching him, making him turn only to see nothing. Something wrong with Naruto-kun? Ino asked, as he stared a little longer before shaking his head. I'm fine, it's just I've felt like we're being watched since we made our clones, and whatever's watching us was watching them, as well, making me think they used some form of clone to do so, Naruto said, as he turned to Ino. Maybe it's those people Kishi, Hisaya, and Yuri were talking about that wanted to see you. Ino proposed, getting a nod. It seems like it, although I wonder why it's from a distance, he said, getting a shrug, as they walked through the town to their object of focus. Probably they're nervous or something. She responded, getting a nod, as he guessed the same thing. In the distance. Why didn't you appear to him yet? Kushina asked, getting a sigh from her fellow Akatsuki member. I'm just waiting for them to walk inside. It has been a while since I saw Tsunade was before I was killed, and want to introduce myself to Naruto and see sensei again, although I'm surprised you didn't just go see Naruto yourself, Kushina, after all you and the others keep talking about how good he is. And judging from the limp the silver-haired girl ahead, he is that good, the cloaked figure said, getting a sigh from Kushina. Let's just go in. I know you want to meet another Uzumaki besides me and Mei, right? Kushina said, getting an obvious blank expression despite not being able to see it. Yes, I want to meet Naruto, but we have other matters to deal with, like helping Naruto-kun get Tsunade to join our side, she said, getting a nod, as they ran to the same bar casino Naruto and Ino entered not too long ago. In the bar, walking in, Naruto and Ino stepped in, looking around the bar to see Tsunade and Shizune sitting in a booth together with a pig wearing beads around its neck, while Ino stared at Tsunade's breasts, making her look at her own with a frown, thinking, what the fuck does that woman eat? Cutting her a look, he said, as they walked through the room. Ino, you know your breasts are perfect the way they are, right? She nodded, leaving it at that when they came to a stop in front of the 3, making the hazel brown-eyed blonde look up from her sake, saying, what do you want? Staring at her, Naruto said politely, sorry to bother you ladies, but my girlfriend and I wanted to know if you had room for 2 more since the other booths are full. Seeing her and her apprentice look around, they saw they were full. They nodded, making the 2 smile in appreciation, as Ino said, thank you so much, and what a cute pig. Shizune smiled, petting the swine's head, getting an appreciative oink, saying thank you, Taunton is a good friend. So what are 2 brats doing out here in town, and a Yamanaka at that? Tsunade said, making the former blonde to stare at her in surprise. Despite your hair being more platinum than blonde and your eyes being more of a dark blue than the sapphire blue they're known for, you still look like a Yamanaka, so it's not a fact I couldn't notice. So what do Konoha ninja want? Tsunade asked, getting a sideways glance from Naruto. Actually, my boyfriend isn't a Konoha ninja anymore. He works for Lord Minas and Lady Mai, and it is on Lord Minas's order for you to return to Konoha to fix your sensei's follies, Ino said, getting a short glare from the busty blonde. Watch what you say about sensei, brat. Besides, why would I do a damn thing for the village after all it's taken from me? Tsunade said, getting a grunt from behind them. Actually, you might be interested in listening to my son and his girlfriend and hearing what they tell you. It will enlighten you and help with your decisions from here on. They heard, making them turn to see Kushina and the cloaked figure. Hello again, sensei, the cloaked figure said, pulling down her hood, showing the thought to be deceased Rin and Yuzuka, who wore her hair the same as she had before. Kushina and Rin, Tsunade said with an audible gasp from the 2 medics, as Naruto stared at the situation in interest. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then, sayonara.